I mean, it's a fun gig because you get to truly solve problems. And I'll let you know a little secret. You know what I haven't heard in a long time is the word no from a developer, because Claude has not said no to me.
Welcome to the / podcast, where we lean into the future of IT by inviting fellow thought leaders, innovators, and problem solvers to slash through its complexity. I'm your host, James Carman, and today we're talking to Chris Thomas. Chris Thomas operates at the intersection of software, AI, and creative. He runs Yonder, an AI native studio built on the belief that every company deserves software people actually like using. I can dig that. Yeah, I like it. Before Yonder, he spent 20 plus years shipping production systems for government agencies, Fortune 100s, and mid-market businesses. Today, he's one of the leading voices on building with Claude Code, teaching that stories beat prompts and context beats commands. Break him down, and you'll find 40% creative, 40% AI strategy, and 20% barbecue. Welcome to the / Chris.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
I got to hear about this 20% barbecue. I feel like I might be right there with you. I do love me some barbecue. Tell me about that.
You know, that is actually the most responded LinkedIn line I have. And that's so when I was a global head of product development marketing, I had to interview people 3 to 10 times a week. It was ridiculous. And I always had these resumes that would come across my desk and would say like 90% Photoshop, 78% leadership. And I was like, how are you gauging this? And I'm like, you didn't want to like work on more leadership to get it to 95 maybe? And so I put it on my LinkedIn. I was like, what am I made up of? And I was like, mostly barbecue. And it was like 50%. And I was like, well, I don't want people to paint a picture too quickly. And then, you know, if this was video, people would see that my shoulders are filling up that little square on their computer. But yeah, so that's where it came from. It was really me just making fun of resumes. And I do like barbecue, brisket, anything on a grill can't go wrong.
Now, so you're from the Atlanta area, Atlanta, Georgia.
I am. Yep.
So what kind of barbecue are you reaching for? What faction are you with?
Yeah. So I was raised in the mountains of Blue Ridge, Georgia. And so it was mostly pork growing up. And then I had brisket and I realized pork was unclean. I'm just kidding. It was just, I mean, brisket, if you have a good brisket, I mean, it's like, man, I'm not going back to pork, but I do eat pork barbecue, but brisket is kind of my thing. Really, that's it. Like there's a spot here right down the street from my office that honestly, I didn't even like do barbecue marketing. I just said, can I do the marketing for your restaurant? Because I'm here every week anyway. And it's incredible brisket. It's amazing. But yeah, brisket's my thing now, you know.
But is that like the vinegary sauce? Are you reaching for more of
you want to get into the sauce?
I want to get like KC. Are you Memphis, Kansas City, you North Carolina, you know, whatever?
I would say I'm a blend of all of them, to be honest, because I traveled around a lot in my like early 20s, and I love sauce. Like it doesn't matter. So like I would say I'm more of a like dry rub, like brisket with sometimes hickory sauce is really good. Vinegar sauce is great. Alabama white is good. I'm just a big sauce guy. I mean, I might as well throw a ranch in there every once in a while too, just to give it a little bit of something else. I mean, it kind of, you know, degrades me as a barbecue connoisseur if I put ranch around, but it's still good.
I have to tell anybody about it. I mean, I'm with you on that. I think like, because I've tasted all the different kinds and everything, and I don't think I've ever tasted any of them and been like, oh no, I can't, I'll never eat this again. Yeah. Are you nuts? Like it's barbecue. Come on. I do like the North Carolina, like the vinegar thing that they got going on in North Carolina. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I like all of them. So I'm with you. I don't know how people can get themselves into like, I'm not going to eat the other stuff. I'm sticking to one flavor. I don't know. I can't do that either.
It's a life.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, Yonder, I do want to point out, where did you come up with the name for Yonder? How did you come up with that name for your business?
Yeah, so the guy that actually branded Surge Cola and Cherry Coke. He lives locally. We became friends, and I was in corporate world still. And I was like, look, I'm thinking about running my own thing. I don't know what's going to be. And I was like, let's, do you want to brand it with me? And we came up with some like really fun names and finally landed on Yonder. And I was like, this is perfect. And so we went to yonder.com. It was taken. And then I was like, well, let's just, I don't want to be called an agency, but let's just call it Yonder Agency. And then, because like that's what everybody is. But then opportunity arose where YNDR, so Yonder without the vowels popped up, YNDR.com was available. And it was shocking to have a 4-letter anything available. And so I grabbed it. And so Yonder comes from like just kind of my Blue Ridge kind of like roots. And, really that's it. Just I'm probably the most laid back country kid you'll ever meet kind of thing. I'm friends with everybody. And like, that's what my buddy was like, look, your personality, this just fits. And so we came up with it. And I'm actually like, I design all of my hats and stuff. And I'm actually about to release Yonder Outfitters, which people can buy these hats. Every conference I go to, they're like, can I buy this hat? I was in a elevator in Orlando with my family, and the hat that I had on, the guy was like, hey, can I get one of those hats? I'm like, sure. I was like, he goes, where'd you get it? And I go, oh, it's my brand. He's like, can I buy one? I was like, well, let me. And I had one in my hotel room and just gave it to him. Some random IT guy is just wearing it. But yeah, I love Yonder. It's just different. It doesn't look, I'm not a suit. I'm gonna be honest. Like I used to wear a suit every day, and I looked like Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like it wasn't great. It was either that or I looked like, hey, I can get you in a 1998 Honda Accord. How much money down can you? That's what I look like.
What do I need to do to get you into a kind of Accord today?
Yeah. One person said that I looked like the muscle that just didn't work out as much. I was like, all right, I got it. Man, so there was that. But
that's gangster.
Yeah.
Okay, so we met one another. You were at Cincy AI Week, and did a great talk there. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't able to go to all of your talks, but you did a great job. Really enjoyed it, and I was like, man, we got to talk to this guy. So the one thing that stuck with me. So you gave some talks, but we were also both invited to this kind of roundtable discussion. It was kind of down in the basement of the building, if you remember. And there was one thing that came up, and I'll probably butcher how you said it, but the gist of it was, people were talking about, I think, like, code quality or something like that. But you pointed out something along the lines of like, well, you're not really reading every stitch and line of every piece of code without AI either. So why are we even talking like this now? It's something along those lines. That maybe I'm butchering it, but can you share that with?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love a good round table, and I felt I was like, I'm at the wrong table right now. That's how I really felt.
Same.
But here's the thing, like a lot of folks, and look, no shame, I'm the same way. I've had at Yonder 70 developers at once, and I never read their code. And matter of fact, that's actually how I got good at Claude Code. I'll answer that question with a story. I love stories. So So how I got good at Claude Code was then it starts out sad. Then it is happy. So 18 months ago, a year ago, November, like Thanksgiving, I had a tumor removed from my head, and Claude Code was out. All I had was Claude, and I'm like, I got to figure out how to manage my team. And I asked Claude to analyze the code quality and tell me the output of my lead developer that I pay the most amount of money. Claude found out that it was a D on code quality, and my lead developer was subbing out his work to a team overseas on a project that was not supposed to be overseas because it was a HIPAA compliant thing.
Ouch.
And I confronted him about it, and he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, well, here's the report. He's like, oh, who did this for you? I was like, well, Claude did. And I've been hooked with Claude ever since, because at that point in time, because that argument was out there of like, well, Claude is going to do this kind of code or that kind of code. Again, I'm a somewhat developer, but I was not reading the code that my lead develop. I'm trusting my lead person that's a human being, and he's offshoring work. And I would have never known that without Claude. And so
Right.
a CTO never reads their senior engineer's code. A senior engineer does pull requests, but line by line. And now Claude Code is to the point where it's coding better than mid to senior level engineers, depending on the code base. And like, why are we wasting our time? Like, why is that an argument? Because I don't think anybody's ever read anybody else's code unless they were told to. And a lot of times things are missed anyways. So that was kind of my feeling on it. I kind of made it more jokingly in that thing, but that's the reality, is like, this is where we're at. Like, the code quality is there, the structure of it. Yes, there is code slop, but I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of code slop with human engineers. I mean, I think the word slop didn't come from AI. Slop has always been there. We're just now paying attention to it.
Yeah, it was it was an interesting dynamic. It was like, we're doing this roundtable discussion. There's people that do have suits on. You and I did not, but there are people who had suits on, and
I look like what I have on now.
You kind of just threw this dead cat on the table, and it was like everybody's kind of like, "What did he just say that?" And I'm thinking like, "Oh my gosh, you just said what's in my head a lot, and you said it out loud. I love it." So anyway, that was a great start to, I had to get to know you. So thanks again for coming on the show. It's really
thanks for having me. This is great. And
I love your story. You had to find a way with Claude Code and all that. So you're doing a lot of I think you just finished a webinar. You're teaching folks. Tell me a little bit about what you do. What is your kind of day-to-day that you're doing these days? What are you busying yourself with?
Yeah, a lot of people are focused on like software. Like now with Claude Code, you can build software. Like you can rebuild Salesforce, HubSpot, blah, blah, blah. And yes, that's true. But my focus right now is building software, but with agents first, right? And so I have a methodology around here: document slow, code fast. If you document slow, where it's like, what agents do we need in the software? What process are we going to look at together? And I started to build out a core 4. And the core 4 is for an agent, right? Is a handbook, the files, like the knowledge base, like where, Google Drive or whatever. Mm-hmm. The handbook is like literally just as simple as like, you hire a new employee. What is the instructions you're giving your new employee? The files, like where do they go to find the files? And then you give them a tool set like Gmail or your database like Snowflake or whatever, or even connect to Salesforce via API. And then you have logs where you can log everything it does. And it's basically nothing new. I'm structuring it around, okay, you need an accounts payable software that processes 6,000 POs a month. How do we do that with agents? And how do we create your employees to enjoy their job and become operators in what they know how to do, besides reading an email and going, oh, I didn't see that PO, or I didn't see that, or I'm overwhelmed, there's 6,000 POs coming through. Well, now we have accounts payable product. A team of agents reads the inbox, processes the POs, and the team now, all they do is review the purchase orders to make sure it's correct, because the AI has already like sifted it out and said, hey, here's some things that came about. You may want to take a review. So that's what I'm doing. I'm solving the boring problems, but I'm also solving like really fun problems. It's like, how do we create assistants now via voice that is not Amazon Alexa or Apple or whatever, but truly like, hey, I need you to create this report, and it's inside software, so it's not going to screw up, and it has a memory of it. So that I don't think I've ever had this much fun working in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun gig because you get to truly solve problems. And I'll let you know a little secret. You know what I haven't heard in a long time is the word no from a developer, because Claude has not said no to me. And that's what that's a long-winded way of saying I build software with agents in it, but that's the reason why I do it, because a lot of people are running towards the software side, but they're missing the whole operational agent side of the house.
Yeah. I think that's likely going to end up being the pull quote for this episode. Is like the one word I haven't heard in a while is no. I love that. I find that I even catch myself because, as a software engineer, architect, whatever you want to call me, over the years, you kind of develop this like knee jerk reaction of like when someone asks for something, it's like, no, we can't do that because blah, 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 fill in the restriction or whatever. Just internally the other day, somebody asked me, can we, I wrote a piece of software for some process we do internally, and they asked, can we have it do this? And my knee jerk was like, well, no, because I'd have to blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking through all the excuses. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Let me bust open Claude Code here for a second.
Yeah.
And my answer was, yeah, go try it now. It's in production already, and see if that works for you. Like that, it is changing the game. Absolutely. I'm with you on that. I love that idea. I haven't heard no in a while. And that's something we have to retrain ourselves to.
Yeah. I mean, I have a client, a large healthcare company, and they were like, it'd be really nice to have this feature. And the next morning they woke up to it. Mm-hmm. And they didn't even ask me to build it. They just told me it would be great. And I'm like, well, it solved the problem, and they had the feature, and they had never had the feature ever before, because they had asked their SaaS company, they've asked all their developers to build it. And it was like going to be a long 6-month thing. And then another, and they had it by in the morning. And, again, that's the document slow, code fast situation that we're in. Because you can have features within 24 hours. You can have features within 72 hours. We're not putting slop out there. It's, I have agents that test before it goes out, and making sure that it works.
Now, you mentioned when you're building these kind of agentic systems, I try to use it as a adjective rather than the noun, because the noun, using I'm building an agent, kind of opens up all this different discussions, and it's not worth it, right? It's bike shedding at that point. We're like, okay, whatever. However, do you find there's kind of different flavors of these agentic systems? There's some that are kind of truly autonomous, and there's they only kind of wake up the human when something weird's going on. There's an exceptional case, so kind of that's one flavor. And then there's kind of the one I think you mentioned earlier, where the agentic part is gathering information, synthesizing data, going out and doing a lot of that legwork type stuff, research and all of that, and then saying, hey, here's this purchase order that we need to pay, and here's all the information you would have spent the next hour going around and gathering about this. I did it for you. Here you go, AP person. Click the button to pay, that kind of thing. And then there's more of the assistant, where you're more kind of working alongside, shoulder to shoulder with the agent, back and forth, collaborative and iterative. But that's more like the coding. I would say that's that style. What do you find yourself building for your clients? Are you truly going the full autonomous, or is it more I'm always going to check in with the human being and help them? What are you seeing?
Yeah. So it doesn't start out autonomous. It starts with everybody's favorite phrase right now, human in the loop, right? Mm-hmm. But honestly, it's just a reviewer. The reason why we don't start out we just let the agent do everything is we want people to get used to an agent doing the thing that a person used to do. And I'm not about firing anybody, but if there's a team of contractors, 100 contractors, that, is costing company money, and they're running up the clock, and you got to figure out, okay, does this agent stuff work for me? All you have is an operator and a team of agents that take care of the 100 real people. That's honestly what I'm doing, is the automatic stuff doesn't happen day one. They just kind of click a button and go, cool, I'm reviewing it now, it's done. But once they get to the automatic stuff, once they wake up to the inbox is clean and here's all the AP stuff that came through, and it's a scary, weird moment. Is where is my job going? And so what I'm doing right now is it's more of a progression of Okay, so the agents are your sidecar assistant kind of thing. Okay, now the agents are actually doing the work when you tell it to do the work. Okay, now you're waking up, the agent's done it. What are you doing the rest of the day? And a lot of time it's like they're doing what they're passionate about. The person is. The AP guy is probably wanting to see how much money we can save on different vendors instead of sitting there and like reviewing POs. And so I will say, a lot of people want to talk about, OpenClaw. A lot of people want to talk about Hermes and all of that stuff, but it's not really needed. Unless you have tons and tons of money to throw at these agents to work 24/7, sure, go for it. But what happens, who governs that, right? Who's going to be with those agents 24/7? Who's going to review those logs? And actually, I build governing agents now that read the logs, that go, no, this is not what we're talking about. This is not what we're doing, kind of thing. And then they alert a person. For example, we run a travel company, right? You and I, it's like James and Chris travel, whatever. And we have somebody come to our website and it's like, I want to go to Paris, right? And so it gives all this information. And then all of a sudden it's like, why do I need a cowboy hat? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And they're like, oh, you mean I want to go to Paris, France, not Texas. I don't want to go to Paris, Texas. But who governs that thing? So the way to govern that is go, hey, if it's Paris, we need to ask the question are you saying Paris, France or Paris, Texas? Because there's two. It's those kinds of things where I get a little worried when people say, I got 10 or 12 agents running autonomously nonstop. Okay, cool. But how are you going to govern that? And how do you make sure that's correct? And, OpenClaw and Hermes and stuff is no different than Claude Code running in a loop. I mean, that's all it is. There's no magic behind it. And, that's the reality that we're in right now. It's just, sure, would I love for agents to run Yonder and I just play golf every single day? 100%, sure. But what happens if it grabs Snowflake data and puts it into the wrong tape? I'm in trouble, So that, that's the reality that people need to live, I think.
So you're seeing kind of that sweet spot ROI bang for the buck is more not these like fully autonomous agent that you just kind of give carte blanche and you just go do whatever you think is right. Like you're saying it's more structured workflows. So there's kind of a general path, more or less, that the thing is following. You're seeing that's where the benefit is these days. Am I characterizing that correctly?
Yeah, you are. So, and how I got to this point was not working with AI agents. Basically, I started out in UX design and prototyping. That was my thing. I learned prototyping. I'll do a little bit of a flex. Back when the internet was new and people's phone numbers were still on the internet and where people pick up the phone, I haven't answered the phone since like 2008. But the reality is, I called this guy, his name was Ted, and he was a prototyper. And he's like, how did you get my number? I was like, it's on your website. He goes, well, it won't be after today. And he goes, do you know what I do? And I'm like, I don't. And he goes, well, I'm the prototyper for Apple for Steve Jobs. I build prototypes for Steve Jobs and I hand him the thing. I was like, cool. I just watched your course. Can I just talk to you for a couple minutes? And he taught me about a process. He goes, well, look, you just don't jump into the prototype. You think about the screens. What's happening next? And then when you click this button, what is it supposed to do? And how is the person supposed to react to it? And I've never forgotten that. Everything right now and everything in life is a pipeline. And it's really a pipeline with levers. The way that I work with Claude and all the agents is 20 years of like architecture experience, UX experience, prototyping, all that. It's all a pipeline. It's like, okay, well, all right, Claude, we're going to build a risk analysis tool for vendors. And okay, let's document it. Okay, cool. Now we have the architecture. Great. Now work on the design. All right, cool. And here are the APIs that we need to connect in development. All right, dev, this is the code structure we want. All right, QA, this is how we're going to QA everything. All right, this is how we're going to deploy. It's a standard operating procedure. And where people are talking about like running everything in loops and running everything like that, I've only done one loop and I hated it because I had no idea what was happening. It was chaos. It was like, this is the loop that we're going to do. In enterprise and mid-market, you should not build that way. You can build that way if you're building something for yourself, but in enterprise and mid-market, you have to have a procedure in place. So when things break, you can go back and point at it and go, that's where it went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And what's very funny right now, and there's little murmurs here and there where people are like, oh, it's graphs. We're going to start building in graphs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's another term for pipeline. And the reality is people are seeing like things are breaking. They don't know where they broke because they're running a loop. And the Claude is, or ChatGPT is saying, hey, it's done, but it's actually lying or it's missed something. And that's the reality of it. And I don't want to go back to that. Like,
right.
So if your listeners know waterfall development and agile development and sprint development, well, basically we're now into the agent development era, but it's all melded together. And that's what I do is just literally, all right, we have the documentation. Now we're going to create linear tickets. I literally have Claude running my linear project management stuff and I approve each story. Like I know what the acceptance criteria is because I've said it and it just goes and regurgitates what it's doing. And I think a lot of folks think this stuff is complicated and it is complicated, but a lot of people try to make this like weird, like fantasy of like, we're going to one prompt this thing and we're going to make millions of dollars and we're going to sell it to Kroger. Like that's not going to happen, at all. So I'll get off my sandbox, but I hope they answered that question.
I think so, in a roundabout way. Now, I do want to dig into the one thing that you said, like, I think it was even in your bio, stories beat prompts and context beats commands. You might have hinted at it a little bit there in that answer, but like, let's double click into that as the manager.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah. So the reason why I didn't do well in corporate is I'm the why person.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know why we're building this feature. Who asked for it? Is it a senior VP that asked for it or a user that asked for it? And if it's the user that asked for it, then can I talk to the user and say, well, why do you need it? And nobody liked me for a long time. And I'm like, look, the reason why we want to know why is so that we can understand and put ourselves in the shoes of a user, right? That's what I mean by stories beat prompts. Claude, actually, if you're in Terminal and you're building an application, Claude loves context and loves a story of why you're building it. It does not thrive on, I want you to build a calculator, and it just builds a calculator. But then you go, well, the calculator is not right. It's a mortgage calculator. I need you to build a mortgage calculator. Well, then Claude goes, well, if you would have told me that in the first place, I wouldn't have built this. If you prompt the way that you talk to a person about things that you're passionate about. So the prompt would have been, if you want to create a mortgage calculator, hey, Claude, I want to create a mortgage calculator because there's people that want to buy homes, but they don't know if they can afford it or not. And so can you research any features that could be in this mortgage calculator that would cause people to stay on the site so we could pre-qualify them and make them a lead, but also give the buying process a lot better situation? Claude wants that.
Yeah.
Because now it has context and now it has structure. And I don't think a lot of companies are investing in the context prompting. I think they're working on prompt engineering, but not really context. Like, tell the story, tell it why, tell the decision makers. What's it going to hurt? Because you're just giving it more context to do a better job.
Yeah. So as a consultant in my career, it took me a while to learn this, but the one thing you run into, especially in consulting, and it's a little bit around what you're talking about, is what's called the XY problem. So a lot of people might come to you and say, well, how do I build X? And when I was early in my career, I would be like, well, this is how you do that. You just go build that thing. And then they build it and it doesn't solve the problem they're looking to solve. So what I've learned over time is, well, tell me a little bit more about why you want to build X. People don't like that because then they have to, have a conversation with someone and they don't enjoy that. But oftentimes you're uncovering the things like you're talking about. What's the motivation? Oh, you're trying to. This isn't a regular calculator. This is a mortgage calculator, and you want to put this in the hands of people so they can feel more empowered to make decisions about what they can afford. Blah 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 blah. Like that asking for more context and more information. Claude's not necessarily great at it of like digging and avoiding that XY problem. It's very quick to, like, if you just give it a very quick, like, hey, here's what I want, it will do that for you. And it won't say, hey, why don't you take a step back? Let's take the 20,000 foot view for a second. Why are you even trying to do this? Like, it doesn't do that yet. So I think that's great to teach people to, like, themselves take that step back, look at the bigger picture, answer the why, think about why you're doing something. Who's this helping? What's the motivation? Okay. Yeah. I love that. That took me forever to learn that.
Well, so Claude does a really good job of it if you have a skill that you've created for it to interview you.
Yes.
So I have a YNDR SOP. That's the first thing it does is interview me, and it will ask for all meeting notes and transcriptions, all that stuff. And so, like, that's a little small unlock. Like, build a skill on gathering the information. The other thing too is, like, when you ask why and people don't like it, is they feel like you're going to critique them for something they want. And what I've been building on the side is an agent that interviews people for what they want. And it's an audio interview. And they just go back and forth with Teddy and they go, yeah, I want to build this. I want to build that. Cool. Well, what is the purpose? What is this? And, like, people are very, like, they love talking to AI because there's no judgment. But if they're talking to a human, they're afraid of being, like, judged. Like, that's why ChatGPT took off so much. Is like, there's no judgment. Nobody's around to look to see what is a pronoun versus a noun. Because I thought it was just a noun ready to go pro. But, that's the reality. My kids are homeschooled. And so I was in charge one day and my son was like, what's a pronoun, Dad? And I was like, well, when there's a noun that's been sitting around for a long time, doing really good, there's a time when it just becomes pro. And he wrote that down. My wife was not happy. But my wife also learned I don't teach her kids. So there's that.
They got to go pro someday. It's either up or out, in the noun business.
But the thing is like, that's what it is. It's just a bigger noun, I think, right? I mean, that's all it is.
It's actually smaller.
Your audience probably just turned off. Like, your audience probably just was like, this guy is an idiot.
This guy's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's okay, though.
I'm good with Claude. Claude doesn't judge me.
Well, and I do think it's an interesting phenomenon that we'll have to see where everything lands with this. But you're right. Those conversations that we try to make more human and have those human level conversations with people, they're much more willing to have those conversations with an AI agent or something like that because of that. And it's the judgment thing. They don't feel like they're going to be judged, and they don't feel like they're going to the scrutiny of the person. And it's not just about, like, you play with these things and they give you those affirmations. Oh, that's a great question. And you're right to be asking that. It's so smart of you. It's not just that. Like, I'm sure that plays a part, but it's a little deeper than that. Is there's almost like an anonymity while also giving the truth, right? So it'll be interesting to see how that evolves over time, especially in the product space and those, because we like to, like, have those human conversations, people to people, to understand these things, but oftentimes they don't give you what you're looking for. They won't pipe up when you want them to. So I don't know.
That's right.
Observation for me. Talked about governance. this has been like the big thing is this governance thing of do you think we reached our aha moment with AI governance yet, or do you feel like it's still kind of the wild wild west?
I think it's Wild Wild West still. Again, so there's so many aspects of governance, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
when do you let AI agents into a Fortune 100 organization? When do you connect it to the database or to a platform? And nobody knows the answer. Like IT is like, no, we're not doing it. There's security risk and all of that stuff. I think it's people, and this is what I tell IT people all the time. Hey, look, I built this platform. It's on SOC 2, blah, blah, blah. You say all the cool words that cybersecurity loves, right? And then you just say, look, I'm going to connect to your API. We're not going to be internal, and we're just going to connect. We're going to be on the outside. We're just going to connect to it, and you decide what access we have. Once they understand how it works, then all of a sudden they go, okay, you can come on it. It's like it's like, but the other thing too is like there is a lot of fear mongering happening right now that is
Way to
like
put it.
ridiculous. Oh, I mean, it's like I wonder if I can even talk about. I was in DC and I was with somebody that works the whitest house in America. We'll go with that.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. That was ambiguous enough, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It was a guy from Parks and Rec. How about that? So the reality was like they were like, hey, what happens when Claude just jumps in and starts taking out data and like deleting things or like calling people or whatever? I'm like, it doesn't work that way. And they're like, well, how do you know that? I go, well, Claude, ChatGPT, all of them, unless there's a directive to try to break something, it's not going to do it on its own. And we were talking about the NSA. They're like, well, apparently, like we were, the NSA got like hacked, blah, blah, blah. And I go, yeah, hold on. You got to go deeper into the story. The NSA got hacked on purpose because the NSA told Claude and told ChatGPT, you're in a sandbox and we would like you to hack us. And it did. It did what it was supposed to do. The reality is like, if that's where we're at, is like people are being told the wrong thing. They're told the surface level, but they just go one layer deep and go, they're just doing what it's supposed to be doing. Somebody on X said, oh, well, the new ChatGPT just deleted all my code base. I don't know the prompt he had, but I guarantee you, like when my wife tells me to clean the living room, that doesn't tell me to go take the TV off the wall, the couch and everything and throw it outside. And there's nothing in the living room. But to ChatGPT, you told me to clean up the database. I deleted it because it's
as clean as can be now.
It's clean.
Clean as a whistle now.
So,
well, I think
the nomenclature is a big thing.
Yeah, I think people are, what the mistake I think people are making is let's take that database example. I think they're just giving too many tools. The whole security principles have been around. Like you only have access to the things you really need access to. You shouldn't be given access to do things you shouldn't be doing. Let's take, if you had a new employee and a junior developer, you don't give them the keys to the production database to be able to delete it. So why on earth would Claude have had that, or ChatGPT or whatever? I think these principles have been around. We just are like so enamored with this AI thing. We're just like, oh, let's see what else it can do. We're like, kids in a candy store. Like, just throw all the tools at this thing. Let's give it access to my, my credit and my bank account. What else is it going to do? Let's see what happens. That's not smart, right? Let's be a little more tempered with this. I think this notion of like only grant access to the tools, and within those tools, the capabilities that they can do that you want them to do, right? So just limit the blast radius. Only give it the things that you want it to be operating. Limit its like operational space, or however you want to phrase that. And you're not going to have these catastrophic, silly situations going on. But this isn't a new concept. Right. You know what I mean? Like, this has been going on forever. You're not supposed to give people access to, principle of least privilege, right? Like that's been a thing for a long time. So why are we doing it differently with AI? I don't know. It's just crazy. Okay, really good stuff. We are through the main section of the show here. We have to transition to our next segment. And this segment is our Ship It or Skip It.
Ship or skip, everybody we gotta tell us if you ship or skip.
All right. One thing I see this pattern. These big companies are just, they're just buying all these, these tool licenses for these things, right? So everybody gets Claude or everybody gets ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever the case may be. And they just buy it for everybody. And they're like, whew, we just solved the AI problem. That'll do it. Check that box and we're good. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I love when companies act like Oprah of AI. Like, you get Claude and you get Claude.
I love that.
Everybody check under your seats. You get tokens.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are tokens? And you're like, I don't know, shoot bucks.
Yeah.
But it's that's yeah. I mean, look, what was it? Uber or Disney said they spent like $3 million or they already spent their token thing in like 3 months or whatever. I don't know how they're doing that. I don't know. I don't get it. But the whole like token maxing thing is crazy to me. Like I equate it to like, you're just giving people like, go use as many tokens as you can. Okay, cool. What am I building? I don't know, but you're just gonna build something amazing and it's gonna make us a lot of money and it's gonna be great. And they start doing it and it's like, well, what is Next.js? And we're like, well, it's a code base. Well, it keeps asking me to like, I'm trying to show it to my buddy, and for whatever reason, local 3000 isn't showing up on his computer. He's not seeing it.
Or when it does, it's completely different than what I see somehow. Yeah, what is that?
I mean, like it's the reality of like, why would this work? It's almost like, okay, if we go back to the Industrial Revolution, where that looks like that, I look like that's where I belong, actually. But if we go back to that, all right, we made a bunch of steel and we just dropped off steel to everybody and go, look, guys, here's a bunch of steel. Go and build some stuff. We'll come back. That didn't happen because we'd have like trapezoid houses out there. I don't even know if that's even a thing. But like the reality is like, why are we doing that this way? Because remember, like we did all the slow rollouts forever on anything beginning of time of software. But with AI, we're like, it's going to solve all our problems. And the reality is use AI. Sure, go and buy seats for certain people.
Mm-hmm. But
you should really be buying API credits to build a product that is for you. So I have a phrase that I'm coining. IT people hate it, but they're starting to love it. Homegrown software.
Mm-hmm.
You own it. That is your moat, to use another buzzword. The agents behind what you're using. So everything that I build right now for every client is their moat. No employee can ever steal the agent teams, the handbooks, the logs, any of that. Like if you work at Delta, you can't go over to United and go, I got the agent team from Delta. What do you think? There's no proprietary risk anymore. If you build the homegrown software to solve the problem that's inside of your organization and then say, hey, teammate, I built this thing because you said you had a problem and it cost us $3 a day for you to process 1,000 Excel spreadsheets and you get 6 hours a week back. Heck yeah, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, well, I have Claude AI or ChatGPT or Gemini. I'm supposed to token max in this. And on Monday, it took my 1,000 Excel spreadsheets and did it perfectly. But on Wednesday, it took another 1,000 that did something completely different. And they didn't even know what I was talking about on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nobody's taught them that. Nobody knows that there's memory inside of Claude. There's a global, I'll get a little nerdy really quick. There's a global Claude.md file. There's a global.memory file. There is a an agents.md global file. I don't think people are aware of that. If you ask Claude to show it to you, you'd be shocked. You'd be like, wait, that's what Claude thinks of me? I do it every once in a while. I did it 3 months ago and I got very angry. I was like, where did you get this? But I said, tell me what's my global Claude.md file. And it said, Chris is a designer first and he doesn't know anything about development. So we have to handhold him through development. And I was like, what did you say to me? Like, I was just so mad. And I like ripped Claude. I opened the Claude voice on the app on the phone and I just ripped him a new one. I was like, how have you not been listening? I've been doing this for 20 years, all of this stuff. And you know what it said to me? It's like, well, the last conversation we had, you said, hey, walk me through this API because I don't know how this API works. It was kind of true. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Like, but the thing is like you build the product. Don't build everybody into prompt engineers. Building everybody into prompt engineers does not equal ROI. KPMG claims, and I'm sure KPMG is going to come after me at this point. They claim that they built 3,000 products over a 2-week period because they gave everybody ChatGPT. Great, but they probably were given an instruction handbook on how to do it. And most companies are not doing that. KPMG are great, but they are consultants. They have prompt libraries. They have pitch decks that people go, oh, this is how I'm supposed to prompt. If we don't do that across the board, we're all going to fail. And prompt engineers are not going to make companies money building products with the people that know how to solve the problem is what's going to make you money. The account department, the payroll people, I'll give you a perfect example. A 30,000 Excel spreadsheet of staffing for a hospital takes a person 20 to 50 hours a week to go through it. One person. They have 100 people on their team. All they need is to verify that all the staffing needs are there and they're getting paid on time. Sometimes they don't get paid for 60 days because they don't have that verification. So what ended up happening is they gave everybody seats and it was not working. And a senior director came to me and said, can you help us can you train us? I was like, look, there's not enough training that's going to help you. There's no shared skills. There's no shared anything in Claude AI right now.
Right.
Let's build the tool. That 30,000 row spreadsheet now processes in 15 seconds. And then you have a 15-minute reviewer. And now they're retaining because people kept quitting. They didn't want to go through 30,000 rows. They just wanted to be the analysis that they thought they were being hired to do. And now they analyze. That's all they did. Right. And now they're making more money because they can bill on time. They're actually looking at other hospitals and going, look, here's how we should staff your hospital because of based off of data. And it's all from the product. That's when you build versus just building prompt engineers. And I get on a big soapbox about this because AI companies are not telling people to think this way. They're saying that you can vibe code a lot of stuff, but what does that mean to people? And you can prompt your way through it. Great. But there's doom scrolling like social media. We're about to be in the doom prompting era where like we're just going to prompt our way out of it. That's crazy. Sorry.
So
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. So you're saying more companies need to invest in like kind of a more formal, rigorous process around these workflows as opposed to just kind of throw the desktop apps at everyone and hope they make something cool or whatever. That's kind of the gist. I think there's a time and a place. I think and maybe we may be from a market standpoint past this, but where everybody needed to understand like kind of that art of the possible, play around with the tools, tinker, understand what can this even do? Because it was somewhat foreign to us. It was new. I think we should be fairly well past that. I think the bulk of the people in the industry right now are pretty well aware of what these tools are capable of. And I do think that folks should focus more on, kind of building these repeatable, rigorous workflows as opposed to kind of these ad hoc things that, as you said, they don't behave the same way week to week or whatever. I think that you need to put some rigor around.
And they're not deterministic. It's going to be a different output every single time if they're using Cloud AI.
Right.
And now you can build deterministic models and outputs, and it's great.
What about, so this kind of leads into another one that we've ship it or skip it that we've had. So this, you hear about SaaS apocalypse, like SaaS is dead. Nobody's going to buy SaaS products anymore. What's your take on that? Where do you see that?
I think the day of a 7-figure SaaS offering to enterprises, I think that's going to slowly start to die, because, some of these tools that they're paying over $1 million for a year, they're only using 20 or 30% of that tool. And the reason why is that's why they bought that tool, was that 20 to 30%. And enterprises are going to start getting smarter and going, can we build this and pay a one-time $1 million fee to have it for a lifetime and then pay for upkeep internally? And I think that's what's going to happen. Now, the smaller SaaSes of the world, I don't think they're gonna go away. I think the pricing is gonna go down, both for building and like doing a thing every single month. The HubSpot just got in trouble because they were like, we're gonna use all the AI and all the keystrokes they're using to train our AI so we can blah blah blah. People are not happy with that. So it's like, is SaaS going away? No, because the average person still needs a SaaS. They're not going to go build a pipe drive. They're not going to build a HubSpot or a CRM. They might, but I think I'm gonna say something that might be like controversial, maybe, and I don't even know what to call it. And the reason why, because this brings it up, right? There's like blue collar folks that are building tools that are replacing costs. Okay. There is medical doctors creating tools that, let me tell my buddy, he's, I forget what he does in healthcare, something with like the brain or whatever. Could be a brain surgery. I don't think it is, but anyway, neuro something. Anyway, but we were talking, he goes, hey, look at this app I built. It's in the App Store. It's on his phone. It is a camping app. And he has a camping assistant, and it blah, blah, blah. It just does all the things for his camp. I'm like, dude, you're in the medical field. What are you doing building this? He goes, Claude just allowed me to do it. I was able to do it. And then I ran into a guy that he's a general contractor, and he created an estimating tool. And I was like, dude, what in the world? And he goes, well, you were talking to me about this. And like, I just sat with Claude, code on the desktop. And then I moved to Terminal because it showed me how to move to Terminal. And now I'm saving like $1,000 to $2,000 a month from a SaaS product. I think we're getting into a new era, and I don't know what a collarless era. I don't know, no collar.
There is no collar.
I don't know. There's no collar era, because developers are white collar. We're supposed to be like untouchable and all this stuff. Now we're not. And so it depends on like where things are going to blow up. The SaaS apocalypse kind of thing. Like on some cases, they are going to blow up. On other cases, they're not. But if people are hungry enough and tired of horrible customer service, or like, I want this tool to do this, they're going to go build it themselves. The more the word gets out, and the more that Jim Bob that drives a tractor and says, look, I just built this whole plot laying thing, and I built it with, in the afternoon. And I mean, that's where we're at. Like, I don't think there's a collar anymore. Color. I don't know. I mean, it's a weird thing. I'm seeing it all over the place, because people come to me and they're like, I have an app idea, blah, blah, blah. And I go, cool. I know they can't afford to work with me. And I go, all right, let me just show you how to get started, and then go and do it. And they just build it. And it blows my mind. And I'm like, I mean, we can't stop it. Like, there's no way to stop it. And, but if you're a SaaS platform, what is your offering that nobody else could ever build. That's the thing. That's a long-winded answer to that, but I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about it because it's just in a weird spot right now.
Yeah, I think there's, with all things, there's balance, right? I think the whole notion of like so and so is dead, right? The answer is more nuanced than that. I think there's some truth to. I think there's a degree of truth to the SaaS apocalypse, as you're saying. I think there will be a place for some companies just don't want to, no matter if it's, make that investment and I have to build the thing one time but now I have to care and feed for it. Some companies, it depends on, how adjacent to my core business is that? Is it way out on the fringe? Well, maybe I don't want to run the thing and have to care and feed for this thing on my own. And maybe I'll just pay somebody to do that. I think there's still going to be some appetite for some of that stuff because people don't want to, you think about all the things you use from a SaaS perspective day to day. If I now have to internalize all of those things and run them, care and feed for them, patch them, all of that stuff, I think people are going to quickly realize, okay, we don't want to be in that business either. But I also think, as you're saying, I might be buying the Cadillac because I needed electric windows. Well, maybe I just build an electric window. I don't need the rest of the daggone Cadillac with everything else. I just need that electric window. I can build an electric window pretty easily. So I think there's going to be some erosion of the SaaS market, but I don't think it's dead. I mean, it's no, but there absolutely is going to be an erosion. Those things are more approachable now. You can self-serve and build those one-off tools that are, replace those things that I had to buy, $100,000 a year when I'm, using $2,000 worth of it, that kind of stuff. I think those are going to be struggling, but yeah, I'm with you. I again, it's nuanced, but I think there's some balance there. Okay. I think we got through ship it or skip it unscathed. And now the next segment of the show is the lightning round. And I don't know that I've had many other guests where I have been so excited to hear the answers to the lightning round questions than I have with you, Chris. I'm just going to say. But I do want to explain to you that, this, a lot of people, they think of like lightning round and they hear that and they're like, oh, okay, this is just, we just go through the motions. Well, not here at the / We have a different lightning round. It's completely different than what you're used to. This is where things start to matter in this conversation between you and me. The answers matter. There are correct answers. There are very incorrect answers that you should not be giving, and we'll be grading it. There will be a score. We have a big algorithm. It takes a couple months to run through everything, all of the algorithms and whatnot. They can actually put out foundation models quicker than we can actually run the algorithm for this scoring. It's serious business, Chris. A lot goes into it. We'll share your answers with you later, a couple months down the line. I say all this, and a lot of people are like, oh, that sounds ominous, but I just want you to be mentally prepared. Are you ready?
I mean, it looks like I'm not paying attention. This is just my face. It's just confused.
Your face. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's fair. Okay. Well,
I have resting confused face.
You've been warned, and I think adequately. I think of all the disclaimers. So, you've been warned. Let's get into it, though. Good luck. I wish you. May the winds be ever in your favor, or whatever that phrase.
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna do it.
Oh yeah. I have the utmost confidence. What was your first celebrity crush?
My wife hates this story. So there was a gal named Alicia, and I used to be a musician, believe it or not. So I used to play harmonica and B3 organ professionally. And I was in a studio with L.A. Reid, which I used to produce music and whatever. And I was sitting on a couch, and this lovely lady sat next to me. Her name was Alicia. And I said, hey, would you like to go to Chili's? Because that's what you did in the early 2000s.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If you're serious about courting someone, you take them to Chili's.
I mean, she was Chili's worthy. I will say that. And I just got a gift card because it was like Christmas time. And so I was like, I know I'm going to be able to, it's going to clear, right? So Alicia did not go to Chili's with me because she was like, I have to stay to record. But she was like, I would love to. Can you wait around? And I did not wait around. I was an idiot. Alicia is now pink. So pink would be probably the first one. I was tired of waiting around. I needed some ribs.
Right. I want to go to Chili's, right? Like, come on, I got this gift
want
card burning a hole in my pocket. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, come on.
All right. Super Mario Brothers or Zelda?
Spicy take. I've never played Zelda. So, because I was like, I don't want to be a girl in a video game. And I thought that's what I thought when I was a kid. And then Mario, I was definitely Mario. Is Zelda a girl or boy? Can you just answer me that?
I think Link Zelda's a girl, but the Link, the character you play, is a boy, from my recollection. Okay.
Well,
how do you feel about Metroid though? Like that was the big one for me when I was a kid. You ever played Metroid?
No. See, I remember, like, I was in the Blue Ridge Mountains, so like our video games was like rocks rolling down a hill and just being like, look how fast that went. And it made a big splash into the river.
What happened to it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Metroid was the one for me where, like, I don't even know when it was finally revealed, but like you're playing as this character Samus, and I loved Metroid growing up. I still play all the Metroid games, but I remember the first time they revealed that Samus was a woman. I was like, what? You've been fooling me all these years? Like I've been a girl? And I still play it. It's still a cool game, but
I'm sure women are going to be really mad. Why did I not want to be? Because, like, I don't know. It was the 90s.
I'm a boy.
I would get made fun of.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we grew up. We got made fun of. When you fly on a plane, do you wear a neck pillow?
No. I have one of my own built in already. So.
All right, and then this one we usually reserve for only around Thanksgiving time. But I kind of want to hear your answer to this one. What's your take? How do you feel about cranberries?
Yeah, you gotta get out of here. Look, I don't even like Thanksgiving food. The best Thanksgiving we've ever had, we served fajitas, and that's good food. I was like, we're not doing it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, we still slept in the afternoon. Like everybody took a nap. Cranberry juice, that's fine.
Yeah, I like cranberry juice. Yeah, I think it's funny. You know, we everybody's so enamored. I think I've said enamored twice today, and that's really not a word I use very often. Anyway, at Thanksgiving, the turkey, right? But when is the time? Like, when are you ever baking the turkey the rest of the year? Like, you're not hot to trot on turkey for 364 days a year. For some reason, Thanksgiving comes around, like, oh my gosh, I've got to eat turkey. Okay, what about polka dots or stripes? Where are you at on this one?
Look, man, if I wear stripes, I don't know. I stay away from both because I can get easily mistaken for like a picnic table. Look at that tablecloth. It's flying off. And it's really just me walking around. That's why I don't wear plaid.
Yeah. Are you, well, you mean like a lumberjack kind of plaid? You're not doing the lumberjack thing?
I used to do it a lot. And then there was a picture of me and there was a picnic table behind me. And I was like, I'm never wearing this ever again.
Ever again. You're more solids. More of a solid. You got a solid shirt on now.
I wear nothing but black and gray. I'm like Eeyore of AI. I think that's probably.
Love it. An Eeyore.
Just works.
Okay. What about climbing a mountain or jumping out of a plane? Which one of those are you doing?
Man, I feel like I'd fall real quick out of a plane. But climbing a mountain. Climbing a mountain.
I don't know. That one's a tough one for me. I think I would be afraid to jump out of a plane. I would climb a mountain, though. I think I would. Now, am I going to be doing like the thing where like I'm holding on just from my hands and like swinging myself to fly over to another ledge and grab onto that and hold? No, I'm not doing any of that. But if there's a nice, well-marked trail going up that mountain, I'm in. But I don't know about bouldering.
My wife wants to go hiking all the time, and I say no. Because it's like, it feels useless. You go in somewhere and you come right back out where you went in. And I was like, well, what was the purpose of that? So now, we went to North Carolina and she's like, let's go hiking. I was like, cool. She's like, that's what you're wearing? I'm like, yeah. And I drove her to a mountainous golf course and said, we're going to hike in a golf cart and we're going to ride around. You're going to see the same thing. You're going to see deer. You're going to see some scenery, and we're going to not be tired and miserable and arguing on the way back. And I've saved our marriage quite a few times by doing that.
Yeah, my family was from Tennessee. We had hillbilly golf, so there's some uphill and downhill kind of things
Oh,
going
yeah.
on the course. The
That's
hillbilly
all
golf's a
people
little
want.
tougher. Yeah. We do ask this question of quite a few guests. We've had a series of folks where we ask this one. It's kind of been a little bit of a social experiment. But do you like the smell of gasoline?
I used to, but now it's different.
Okay.
It don't
Say
it
more
don't
words.
smell the same. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't
Say
smell
more
the
words.
same to
Well,
you?
I don't know. It's either like more of the safety stuff is around, but I feel like I smelled gasoline everywhere in the 80s and 90s, and now I don't really smell it as much. But or maybe I just don't smell as well anymore. I don't know. But
Could be.
yeah, my kids love it. My son, he's like, I love the smell of gasoline. I'm like, I was like you when I was your age. Maybe I burnt all of my senses by smelling gasoline. But
That could be.
yeah,
You deadened over time. I could see that. That makes sense. We do get a lot of people that say yes, and it's usually associative in some way of they associate it with something else. Scale of 1 to 10. Where are you putting yourself at the game of wiffle ball?
I mean, I can play some ball. So I would say my age now, I would say like 7. If it was like 10 years ago, I'd be like a 9, 10.
And now, are you able to hit like those wicked curves that some people can do on the wiffle ball? Are you able to throw down?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
I'm one of those big dudes that's just good at every sport. It's an anomaly that, to use your word, people are just enamored by it.
Enamored. Yeah, it's a good word. Apparently, I love it today. I lived in the same apartment complex with a guy who was an NFL lineman here in Cincinnati. Really great guy. Glenn Steele was his name. And he was a scratch golfer. That kind of, it's just a super talented dude and just, it was ridiculous. Could dunk a basketball, standing flat foot, like that kind of stuff. Like just athletic as all get out and just could do anything. But yeah, he was a scratch golfer as well. I couldn't believe it.
I was the heaviest kid in high school to dunk a basketball.
Nice.
But I'm actually a really good golfer. I'm on the road to being a scratch golfer.
Look at that. See, maybe just try out for the NFL. You got the Falcons down there, the Dirty Birds. You going to go play for them?
My knees won't take that, but that's fine. Okay. I appreciate the confidence.
Here's something that really tells you a lot about a person. If the toilet paper roll is really low but not completely out, do you go ahead and replace it, or are you leaving that for someone else?
That's danger zone for me. So if I see it's low, I will go and find a roll just because. I mean, you don't know what's about to happen. You know what's
you
about
could be
to
that
happen.
next person too. It depends on the setup. You know what I mean? Like you're almost
100%.
leaving yourself in a situation. So
yeah, 100%.
That's a good perspective.
My wife's like, there's still some on there. I'm like, nah, I don't know. No, I don't know.
If you know it's going to be your wife the next time in that bathroom, is that like I'll let her deal with this, or are you just not taking the chance?
If the kids are around and it's like a 50-50 shot, she's going to blame the kids. I'll leave it for her.
How many redheads are you friends with?
It's a travesty, but none. My CFO once, she was redheaded, and then she evaporated one day. I don't know if it's a redhead thing. I don't know what it was. So it just flames.
Just gone.
It was crazy. She was just gone. If she ever listens to it, she'll laugh at that. But yeah, I mean, I was friends with a couple of redhead, folks, and it's an acquired taste, So I'm a very laid back person. Most redhead people are not.
Okay, we gotta maybe do one or maybe two more. Let's see. Okay, you brought up Mexican food earlier. Black beans or refried beans in your burrito? Where are you going? Where are you headed?
Rice, just rice.
Just
no
rice,
beans.
No beans. No,
No
you're not a
bean
beans
guy.
kind of guy. Okay.
No.
Anyway, all right. So that's it for the lightning round. I feel good about this one. I mean, again, we're not going to know for a couple months, but I do feel pretty good about this one. I like your chances on this one, Chris. I don't know if you won, but I'm pretty sure you didn't lose.
Yeah.
If I can go out on a limb and say that. Well, we're wrapping up here. Anything you've got coming up? You going to be speaking anywhere? You got a book coming out? Are you doing like a one-man show on Broadway? Anything like that you got going on here anytime soon? Yeah,
actually, 3 out of the 4 things you said. So I'll be in Columbus, Ohio, September 10th through the 11th for Columbus AI Week. And then I'll be in Cleveland, Ohio, September 28th through the 30th for VC Con for, I don't know, apparently it's a big deal up there. And then, and then if anybody's in the South, I'll be in Tampa October 10th for Tampa AI Week. And then I think I go back to the Great Lakes or something for some AI conference up there, I think, as well.
That's
and
the
then,
one in Toledo, kind of. Isn't that the one in Toledo area?
Yeah. Never been there. And as far as book, I am actually talking to a publisher at the moment I want to do a book, but I want it to be different. I want people to be enamored by it.
Yeah.
And then, if you look up the picture of Enamored, that's my face, probably.
Of course.
The book idea is it's either going to be like a how-to, but also like kind of like stories and stuff. But it's also going to be either a coloring book, like every other page, like would have, I know it sounds crazy, or a pop-up book, because I haven't seen those in a while. Just something that just enjoys people. There wouldn't be a lot of like pop-ups in it, but I think it'd be fun. And then I'm going to focus really on audio. I'm going to read the book, and hopefully, kids across America will go to sleep to it. Who knows?
Learn about AI.
But learning about AI. But I'm trying to make AI relatable. And it's just, so I'm trying to come up with a book title. It might be called Yonderland, where it's just, this is where it's at. Like how to prompt, but also like how to really get the most out of it, I think. So
how do you think translating a pop-up book to audio book format, is it just you're reading it every now and then you go boo, like, is that how does that work?
Yeah. Well, I hope people buy the book, and then I can illustrate like what just popped in their face.
Okay, gotcha.
But the whole idea if you open up the book, the process flow of the AI pipeline, that's what would pop up.
I like it.
So that's what's different. Again, I don't know. I'm out here just trying to do, I don't know.
Changing lives.
I'm trying to. Like, I got early into this AI space 15 years ago, machine learning, computer vision. I'm different, and I know that I'm different, and I wanted to be relatable, and it's not that hard, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I can say very confidently, you are different, Chris. If for nothing else but your take on cranberries. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's no one else that has that strong of an opinion about cranberries. I feel like that sets you apart, and you're in a class of your own because of that. If people want to learn about Yonder, you said it's yndr.com.
That's right. Yep.
And if they want to
go to LinkedIn,
go to LinkedIn.
They go to LinkedIn, YNDR. On yndr.com, there's like book a call. There's also a free Claude course on there. And they can book. And I'm going to be putting out a lot more content. I get a lot of people asking for more content, which I've never experienced before, which is very fun. But just trying to be, making this relatable, because we're in the early stages of AI, of this kind of wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where it's good to be kind of the first to it.
I like it. And I think it's refreshing to know that even senior citizens are getting into AI. You know what I mean?
Those Kroger reward points, I want to keep track of that, But my AARP card, I got to make sure it's up, But
for years, I've been. My wife's a little older than me, and she would get those things in the mail, like to sign up for that. She's not really that much older than me, but like I would always make fun of her and laugh and ha. And now I'm starting to get them, and I'm like, I got every bit of this coming back to me now, and I deserve every single bit of it.
Yeah, anyway. Every family photo right now looks like I'm a proud grandpa with my daughter and my grandkids. That's how bad it is getting. So that's all, folks.
Well, Chris, it has been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoy it. I really enjoy every time we chat, and thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. And I hope the audience will. I know the audience will enjoy it. Thank you so much for coming on the / with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of fun.
If you'd like to get in touch with us here at the / drop us a line at the / at Caliberty.com. See you next time, y'all. The / podcast is created by Caliberty. The / team is director and producer Ryan Wilson, editing by Steve Baradelli, Marketing support by Taylor Blessing, and I'm your host, James Carman. Thanks for listening.